Dear Airbnb, we need to have a little chat about the free parking filter on your website. Obviously, Airbnb connects hosts with customers who want accommodation. We're just in between accommodations today, pulled off from this beautiful roadside air. I'll show you shortly. And you know you're winning in life when you're camping or having a picnic and you've got ice for your tonic and lime. So we've been to quite a few Airbnbs now. We've built up some experience, but the one thing that is consistently frustrating, especially because we're in a van with L3H2, it doesn't meet the height restrictions to many car parks, etc. And so Airbnb have filters, don't they, for their connecting. The hosts can then tick all of the features of their property, so then when people are searching, they can specify the criteria that they would like. You know, I need a washing machine, etc. And then when you're doing the searches, things match up to your requirements, and properties don't appear that don't have the things that you need. Now this works largely except the free parking option, and it's not just because we're in a van. So the free parking option now we've ticked, and what people can do and tick this free parking, it doesn't really mean a lot, because if there's a car park 10 minutes down the street, people can just click this free parking, but it's like you have to walk to the car park. So I've got an idea for Airbnb to improve this, because some people might, the disability and access problems, there should be a bit more detail, I think, on this filter, because some people might not be able to load. Many properties now that we've been to, they'll have this free parking, but they're just like, it's not at the property. So I think there should be a bit more detail about this parking. Is there a private space at that accommodation specifically for your vehicle? Meaning, if that's the case, with or without height restrictions as well would be another option for vehicles. Because then right, there's a space for me. I don't have to compete with other people. Because a lot of people put free parking, and then in the description you get told, yeah, it's on the street. I was looking at a cottage in the southwest of England and had the free parking filter on, and then I noticed in the description it said the parking was a paid car park 5 minutes walk away that would have a height restriction, but still that's free parking. But then in the description it's a paid car park. That might cost quite a bit per day. So incorrect. They're obviously appearing then in this free parking, and we've just assumed free parking meant that there is a parking space at the property, but it just doesn't. So number one, I think, yeah, they should definitely have whether the parking space is private and on the property and only yours. And then if the parking is on the street, then at least people know that are coming, and then the host is protected. If it's parking on the street, you know that there's potential parking that's free or paid. In England, they have a lot of different rules on different streets, which could be confusing to, traveling guests, especially if they're in their vehicle, they're in a different country, different language, and the parking around the area, they might have different rules for the different streets. But if it's on the street, at least you know that you're competing with other cars, and the parking isn't guaranteed. So when you're arriving at the Airbnb and there is a space, you're like grateful, great, we found a space. But if you're going out, you know that your space might not be there when you get back, so you can, adjust accordingly. And then if you get there and there isn't a space, you're not disappointed, because you know that is the setup. And also, number three, you shouldn't be allowed to put free parking if it's not actually free. That is you can't then put in your description that it's there. We're going back to Levegan, and we've just had the directions, and it said there's a 2-meter height limit near the property, so we can't get the van to the property, and we've only found out this afterwards. It said there was free parking and you could get right to the property before, but because of this height restriction. So I know we're in a van and it's a little bit different, but many people drive around in camper vans and different types of vehicles. And I think the free parking should be split down into private parking on site, free parking near the property, or there's free parking X amount of minutes away. Or obviously, if it's a paid car park and it's 5 minutes away, that is not free parking, is it? Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. Go directly to jail. So it's a little bit naughty. We've had it now happen several times. In Set, it was free parking, but that was on the street, and we were lucky to find a space, and we just left the van there because the parking was chaos. That was away from the property. We couldn't park outside. And the second place was free parking. That was on the premises. That was great. And now the last place we were in, Peugeot, it was parking. It was, yeah, the free parking was clicked again because we need that, but it wasn't. It was a car park, which was, quite a few minutes walk away. We did manage to get the vehicle backed up to the property when we arrived there and coming back. But yeah, so we're going now. It's going to be interesting to see what this is about, but I definitely think the free parking needs to be split down into a few more features, and that given that information up front, because we're getting this information after we've booked, just on the day that we're arriving. So we've got that to look forward to. But everything else works. If there's a washing machine there and you're looking for a washing machine, it's pretty much spot on. But there's just some ambiguity about this, surrounding this parking, which I'm sure we're not the first. And it's whether you're in a car or not. There's all sorts of reasons that you might want the free parking. You might love your car. It might just be a really amazing car, and you want to be able to look out the window and make sure it's still there. So that, your vehicle that you're traveling in, you deserve to know this information up front. So just some things to think about Airbnb. We are going to enjoy a picnic on the halfway mark to our next destination. All right.